So I'm going to start off with this great quote. I don't paint dreams or nightmares, I paint my own reality, by Frida Kahlo. Hello, so please do subscribe if you aren't already, and please do share this video or these videos on my channel with others that you think might be interested. And the other thing I just want to plug for is that I'm spending a bit more time developing my Pinterest at the moment. So if you're not already subscribed to me follow me on my Pinterest account, then please do so, and I'll put the link into the notes to let you do that. Okay, so today what I wanted to talk to you about, and it's a little bit different because often I've been doing practical demonstrations in the last few weeks, but what I want to do today is to talk to you a little bit about how we develop our own unique artist voice and the importance of that. And you may wonder why I'm talking about that now, but recently I've started, if you've been following me on here for a while, you'll have seen the work I've been doing on the ramshackles. And as I'm developing this new body of work, I'm starting to think again and revisit this whole idea of our unique voice and what that is. And so that's really prompted me to sort of talk about that today. And that work is about those dilapidated buildings. And I've always said that my work isn't just about landscapes. It's a broader topic than that. It's really about places and that sense of place and what makes places unique. Again, about identity and about connectedness. But I'm not going to talk about my work particularly today. What I want, and apart from maybe use some examples as we go through, but what I wanted to talk about was developing our own unique voice and the importance of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you some of my top tips. But before I do that, I just wanted to sort of touch on, well, what is that? What does it mean to have to develop your own unique artist voice? And basically, it's the way in which we distinctively and individually express our visual artwork. So it's about how we as individuals express ourselves uniquely. And that is based on, all sorts of things, our experiences, our philosophies, our history with things, our own beliefs and values, the way we experience the world. And obviously techniques come into that as well, the techniques that we use. So all that packaged together gives us our unique voice. Finding our unique voice is pretty fundamental to our work, and it does take time and it takes space to sort of unravel and develop. So here are my top 8 tips really to start evolving our unique voice. And hopefully, whether you're on with your journey or whether you're early in your journey, there'll be something here that sort of sparks something. So the first thing that I think is important is to ask yourself, what is your uniqueness? Now that is a huge topic, but what it comes down to is starting to really unpick and think about you and what is your experience in life, what things light you up, what are you passionate about, what is your history, what's your experience with things, what have you done in your life before now. And it's those, and what are your beliefs, your values, all of those things. And what I think is quite helpful with this one is to start using a journal to jot things down, and hopefully that will really sort of help you to kind of continue with this. And it's not going to be like a 5-minute job, but it will start to really help you unpick what it is that is your uniqueness, and you will build on that over time. So that's number 1. Number 2, and I'm going to laugh here because you'll have heard me say this before, notice what you notice. And this is a kind of a catch-all phrase, but what I'm meaning by that in this context of developing your unique voice is, what is it that you are interested in? What styles do you love? What colours do you love? What is it that is on your camera roll on your phone camera, what is it that you're always noticing and looking at and inspired by? It might be many different things. Earlier in the year, I became very aware that I was looking a lot at these old buildings, and that was way before I started developing my work on them. But I was just aware from looking at my camera roll. So it's, that there are lots of ways of doing that. One key way, and I'm going to point over at my mood board over there, is to develop a mood board. If you don't have space or you don't have a studio, you can obviously do that in a journal. What's useful about doing it in a studio or on a wall is that you can change things around and just pin them on. So it can be colours, it can be phrases, it can be quotes that inspire you, it can be others' artworks, it can be all sorts of things, it can be photographs you've taken. But that whole inspiration, what is it that is what you want your artwork to be about, so that you're developing and evolving your unique voice of things that you want it to be about. And of course, then I mentioned at the beginning about my Pinterest. Why not use Pinterest to develop mood boards to help you evolve and understand what it is that you're particularly interested in? So that's number 2. The third one is, I think it's important to explore a range of influences. And that kind of overlaps with what I've just said. But things like literature, music, other artworks, other artists' artwork, books, texts, all sorts of things. If you've been following me for a while, I remember when I was talking about my landscape inside out body of work, which I did last year, I was using lots of, I read books that were about the different types of landscapes that I was exploring. And there are all sorts of things that you can delve into to kind of connect in and use those influences to help you really unpick what it is you're interested in and your uniqueness. So the number 4, and again, this is linked as well, is tell your story. Make it personal, make it connected to what you're all about, because that's when the exciting things happen and it becomes truly yours. So that idea of telling stories, expressing yourself and expressing yourself through your artwork, if you're telling your own personal story, that makes it much more inspiring and interesting for people, and it helps you as the artist as well. So don't be afraid of telling those stories. I mean, last week I was out in the northeast in my van, and sort of getting quite sort of specific and telling you that story of how I was, sort of almost getting cut off with the rain, kind of enveloping one of the small bridges, and that whole thing around that sort of, and how that was quite scary and all of the rest of it. I was kind of really sharing that story with you, and it's about the story of my life really, in a way. Bringing that into your artwork is very important, to be able to sort of tell that sort of exciting story and to connect everything together. So that's number 4. Number 5, I think this is really about consistency and commitment. And this is where it's about, constantly evolving your artwork, repeating things, doing things. What I have found most recently is that by evolving a series of drawings, it brought me back to what is quite fundamental to me, which is about using drawing as part of my artwork. And by sort of really immersing myself in that and setting myself some sort of goals, and actually sort of like going through and doing a lot of process-driven stuff and lots of drawings, it really sort of I started to see patterns of what I was interested in, patterns of how I was doing things. And so that kind of focus and, keeping things. Obviously, we're interested in lots of different techniques. Well, maybe we are, maybe we're not, but quite a few of us are. But try to be a little bit focused so that you can really sort of start to develop a real narrative and a real expertise in what you're doing. And I think that can really lead you to understand a lot more about yourself and your unique voice and your approaches as well. So that's number 5. Number 6, review your work and your sketchbooks. Now, you might not all use sketchbooks, but you'll all be doing artwork of some sort if you're artists. And I think it's really important to review it and to look at it. What is it that you really love? What are your favourite pieces, and why are those your favourite pieces? So I have, at the moment, I'm doing a series of drawings for the Ramshackles, and there are a couple of them that are really standing out for me, and I'm really trying to understand why it is that those particular ones are resonating with me. And oftentimes it's the types of marks, it's the energy, it's the kind of immediacy, it's the lack of overthinking, it's all of those things. So unpicking what it is that is in those ones that you particularly love. Similarly with sketchbooks, flicking through, you'll see things coming up and coming up time and time again. If you follow me on social media, you'll have seen that this week I was talking about the fact that because of the Ramshackles, I've started again to start reviewing and looking at this whole idea of this Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, things that are imperfect, things that are incomplete, and things that are not everlasting. They're kind of, falling apart and so on, which is very reminiscent of the Ramshackles. But I was looking back at my old sketchbooks, going back 20 years, would you believe? So number 6, reviewing your work and your sketchbooks. Number 7, embrace imperfections. There will be quirks, there will be odd things that happen in your work. It won't be perfect, but sometimes some of those little nuggets can be taken into your work and be part of your identity. So that is something to think about. And very lastly, and very importantly, authenticity is critical. And, being your authentic self, being true to yourself, being honest about things, not necessarily latching on to the latest fads. And I know it's really hard. Social media, you're bombarded with how we should do landscape, how we should do this, how we should do that. But try and keep that a little bit separate. It's all about what is your truth. What is it that you want to say? Anyway, so I hope those 8 points have been helpful. Please do like and subscribe, and I would love to hear your comments. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.